I feel like no matter what kind of person you are, no matter how much you work on yourself or you develop, there's always going to be a point or a time or a period where you feel like you need to find a way back to yourself. And I don't mean that in the sense of like people actually feel like, oh, I'm missing part of myself, but it's that off feeling, that you're no longer either in the state you were before or no longer the person you were before. And sometimes changing who you are or feeling like a new person can be a good thing. But I feel like it's in times where we feel like we're off our game almost. We're off our motivation, off our discipline, off of our progressive journey towards where we want to go. And I think the main thing that's missing there is continued either passion or pressure. I feel like it's a lack of discipline rather than a lack of motivation. I feel like all of us inherently want to be better at some point, and we get caught up in a lot of life's ordeals to the point where we're unable to move forward with ourselves. I myself experienced this, not I wouldn't say like to a great degree, but in terms of how I felt like right after break and then coming into where I am now, I feel like I finally got back to the point I want to be at. And it's about realizing what you're digesting, realizing what you're intaking. I got more social, more outward, and I started deriving time for myself. I started taking more time away from what I used to do, which is spend most of my time by myself, which isn't a bad thing. But it's about realizing, what you need to do in order to feel most like yourself and also exist in your own comfort. It gets real easy to just get lost in the loops of life and forget about yourself in a way. Like, forget that you need to take care of yourself. Forget that, you have your own passion, your own goals, your own whatnot that, you could be focusing on or you should be focusing on. Not to say that you shouldn't interact with people, not to say you shouldn't be social, not to say you shouldn't go out there and do stuff. Of course you should. But I think everything comes with moderation. As much as relax, you have to work. As much as you work, you have to relax. And maybe not 100%, it's kind of hard nowadays with how it's set up. But in terms of like who we are, it's one thing to put out. I feel like a lot of us put out who we are, our energy, our everything, to the point where we feel like we have nothing left. Or feel like we're getting repetitive or repeating a cycle or like playing a character almost. It's about bringing it back in. It's about, meditating, cultivating yourself, doing the stuff that makes you feel most like you. Being genuine to yourself to the point where you know what you like, you know what you want to do. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily know what they like yet, or they don't know, stuff like that. But it's about exploration. And when I say exploration, I don't mean outward exploration. I mean inward exploration. Maybe through outward action though. You don't realize you like thrifting until you go thrifting. You don't realize you like to sing till you try singing. You don't like to rap until you try rapping. Like, there's certain stuff that needs to be done in order to find it. You're not gonna find something like that without encountering it, or at least putting yourself in a position to encounter it. I feel like a lot of life is prepping yourself for opportunity and allowing the opportunity to come to you, or being able to capitalize off of opportunity when it comes to you. So realizing that, you know, sometimes you have to build yourself up before you build everything around you. And in the same way that like everything's a reflection of who we are, our goals, our success, our everything, our relationships, they all start with how we relate to them. And finding a way back to yourself, it's like I feel like a lot of people experience that feeling that, their past self, they lost their past self, they lost their spark, their happiness, their whatever. I feel like most of it is somewhat nostalgia one, and sort of inability to appreciate what's going on now. instead of viewing things as new things in our life or new days, new experiences, we tend to relate them and compare them to previous ones, you know. And not to say that, the now is not going to be better, or the past isn't better than the now, but to say that there's no cause for comparison. There's no reason to constantly do that. When you're looking at life from a constant comparison, and you feel like you've had a major up, then everything else is going to look down. Everything else is going to feel down. I mean, it works vice versa, but I feel like the most healthy way to go about it is to realize that, each day is new. Every day you get to try again. Either to try to be better present, try to do more things, try to do this, that, and the other. But also trying to be you, trying to figure out who you are and experience yourself for this new day. If we're constantly living in the past, we are unable to live in the present. You're unable to find out new things about yourself if you're constantly worried about the things you used to be. It's about somewhat stepping outside your comfort zone. Like, oh, see, look, like even me, I realize that there's still stuff like I need to work on for sure. Like I did this panel. I only did part of it. I was on a panel for relationships and whatnot. It definitely made me realize, a couple things I have to work on. But also, in regards to my public speaking ability, there's stuff I need to work on. Like, just building yourself up enough to the point where you feel like you can express yourself exactly how you want to. While I did express myself, I feel like there was certain articulations and stuff I wasn't able to do just because of my slight uncomfortability. And that's not to say like I'm saying that not to discourage. I'm saying that to like just tell you that like there's always more to do in a sense, but there's not, a stressed about it. Like it's one thing to realize, but it's one thing to get on yourself about it. I realize that that's the case, and then whenever I have an opportunity to work on that, I'm going to do so. But I'm not gonna stress about it now. I'm not gonna, get on myself about it like I did something bad. It's just a reminder of what I need to grow from, a reminder of what I need to do in order to be who I want and to do what I want. The progressive steps forward, slowly becoming more of yourself. I feel like sometimes finding your way back to self is continuing to grow, not necessarily getting back to a place. It's continuing to grow. I feel like we become stagnant and we become, nothing seems new to us anymore. It's like a point where you've grown and you've been at that point for a while, which isn't bad. If you can appreciate that, I feel like it can last forever. But, he who thinks the journey is over is truly lost. So sometimes it's like realizing that you still have to move forward. There's still more to you. There's still more you can grow towards. There's still parts of yourself that you have yet to discover and things you have yet to overcome. I feel like I feel most like myself when I'm overcoming, when I'm breaking down some of the mental barriers I've placed for myself or have been placed on me in some type of way. When I'm growing, when I'm changing, I feel most like myself. I don't necessarily know what it is, but it's like changing in the sense of realizing more about myself, becoming more enamored with who I am and like practicing that self-love, appreciating who I am on a very fundamental level, but also like on a very grand level, like how I choose to express myself or how, my passion seeps through some article or some vessel, some, form of expression. Getting back to yourself or finding your way back to yourself. It's not about leaving yourself behind. It's about sort of looking in the mirror. It's about finding something that's been there all along. The you inside the you, the non-external you, the internal you, the way you actually are or the way you want to be. It's all about a relation to who you are, a relation to yourself. I guess that's the main point I wanted to cover with this. But in general, I feel like as life progresses, our intention really weighs heavily on that. As much as like I like motivation, as much as I'm into discipline and whatnot, I still fall off my game. I still got stuff I got to get back to, and that's fine. It's all part of the process, part of the journey. I don't think that you ever get to a point, or you might be able to, but I don't think that it comes to a point where you're just like, I'm done. I found the answer. I found the end. I feel like to exist in that stuck place is to exist within connotation. I feel like that's when you can point fingers at somebody. That's when they can point fingers at you and you take it serious. Or maybe you built up enough of a barrier for that not to be the case. That's also something I want to touch on. And maybe in a later video, I realize I'm touching time, but it's about finding a way back to yourself. Is also like creating your own definition. So like external matters don't really do as much as you would think they would. There's definitely times in my life where I feel like, the world, I bet I was connotated by the world, or I just adopted whatever people were, necessarily telling about me. And luckily, like I had a good group of friends, telling me good things, relatively. So, but for people who don't necessarily have that, it's about finding that definition for yourself, but not in a delusional way, not in a way that you're disregarding, other people and disregarding, the reality of it, but in a way that you're regarding your own opinion too. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I don't even want to say what I'm almost at, but I'm about to go live very soon. I realize I haven't been live in like 2 weeks. I've been very busy. School's kind of doing its thing, clubs, activities, organizations. But I've been trying to interact with y'all more. A lot of y'all been sending me like your own work, your own music, your own writing and whatnot. I love it. It's very nice. You guys are super talented. I also have a Discord up right now. I need to figure out or get Nitro. I might just fold and get Nitro so everybody can join from the same link. But regardless, thank you guys so much. It's been quite a journey. Like the other day, I almost shed a tear, just because of like, it's kind of surreal. I've been doing this for like 3 years and so, but finally got to a point where I feel like I'm actually creating change. So it's very like, it feels fulfilling almost, but I'm just happy that you guys are here. I'm thankful for y'all. And yeah, you made it this far. Thank you. I got more stuff coming out for y'all for sure. I'm gonna remain consistent, do my best. So much appreciated.